Hello anybody and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode we did the next two levels of Krem Quay, the swampy lands of Crocodile Isle where the Kremlings bathe and spend their time, I can only assume. We did Rattle Battle, we did Crockhead Clamber, and in this episode we are going to be going on to the remainder of Krem Quay and finishing it off, starting with Slime Climb. We are going to be going right in to a gross, disgusting rigging level. Look at that background. Look at that sky. That is absolutely gross. That is disgusting. And we got this cheerful music playing in the background that doesn't really fit. Friggin' knickknacks. These aren't knickknacks. These are something else. So, the gimmick of this level is fairly obvious. That is not a normal lockjaw in the water. That is a snapjaw. I think it's called snapjaw anyway. It is much faster than lockjaw is, and if you're in the water when it snaps, it will pretty much always hit you. Oh, I am lucky that I hit that guy right there. So this background is putrid. I guess it's supposed to represent a swamp, or at least a thing sinking in a swamp. Maybe it could be, maybe instead of clouds, it's like foliage of trees, but that just doesn't make sense with the scrolling effect, so... You can only do so much when to represent an area when all you're doing is changing the palette of a given level. I suddenly decided I wanted this K, that's why I'm going back. This level is fairly dangerous, actually. Like most levels in Krem Quay, it does represent the sharp curve upwards, the difficulty curve upwards, but I feel that it isn't actually one of the harder levels. Now, you can do that and die. I showed off how you can die there, so that's pretty exciting. Interesting detail, this is actually the last level we will see. This is the last rigging level we will see in the game. Krem Quay is kind of interesting in that it is the end of 3 level types. We saw the last of the ship deck, we saw the last of the ship hold. Glimmer's Galleon and Rattle Battle were the last of their examples, and that's about all I can say for that. I'm not sure how much section over to the right that skipped, but that's okay. Except now I need to get up to that barrel, and I can't because I need another barrel. And I'm getting sloppy. Alright, so this is where we got before. If you decided to go this way instead of to the left and take the barrel flying up, you'd have to do this path, although I rarely have taken this path myself. Oh boy. And that's why it gets very dangerous. So maybe I'm a coward for cutting out that other stuff, and I kind of still want that barrel up there. But hey, at least I got the freaking checkpoint. And this, we have an invincibility barrel here, and what we want that for is to swim down here and get ourselves a bonus barrel. I'm sure you can get to that bonus barrel by other means, but that is the easiest, that is the intended way of getting there, if the banana trail is any indication of that. So we gotta get some stars, and, well, it's not too hard. You actually want Dixie Kong here, because with her sweeping hair, she can float through the air with the greatest of ease and just generally pick them all up in 2 goes if you're good. With Diddy Kong, there's just a lot of dangerous jumping, and it's not as good, and Dixie Kong immediately kills herself, so that's great. It's not really. She's clearly the better of the 2 Kongs. We'll jump back over here and get this again, because I'm curious. Oh, okay, if you use that barrel up on the left, all you get then really is... all you get is just a little shortcut over, I guess. Oh god, this is a bad time to be in the water. This is a bad time to be in the water. Uh-oh. Interesting tidbit about myself. I'm afraid of drowning because I cannot swim myself. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I really don't know why I'm telling you this, but just, I guess, so you know. Also, don't do that. That hat will obviously kill you, too. Wow. There was no excuse for that one. 3 times, but no more. And that is how you do it. I am so good at this game, but except not really at all. Ignoring the coin, you just gotta use your mid-air jump, somersault jump, and double jump. Double jump before double jump was really a common thing, and when it was a lot weirder because it was a lot rarer, at least I don't remember very many games with double jumping on the Super Nintendo in the era. of the Super Nintendo games. I think there might be something over there, but I'm not going to try it. If I have to do this level again, that'll suck though, so maybe I should check. And oh boy. And this is where Dixie Kong's inferior climbing skills are really put to the test. Although, after this there aren't really many climbing levels, so this is the last level for a while where we'll have to worry about it. Honk, 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 honk. Go drown yourself. Why doesn't that Lockjaw eat them? It's not fair. Here we have a cannonball. It's multi-purpose. It makes a good... Oh god. Well, I would have died anyway. I need that cannonball. What I've wondered about this level is it sinking into the swamp, or is the swamp somehow inexplicably rising? Okay, there's nothing over there. Oh, jeez. Learn from my mistakes so that you may not make them yourself, but if you do not die at the hands of a piranha, then you'll die at the stinger of a bee. Obviously, it's more logical for the swamp to be engulfing the ship slowly as it rises, but even so. I think this is where I got to last time. This is the farthest I've gotten in the level. Oh, wait. Oh, it's these guys. Honk, honk, honk. Actually, if you can get one of these guys, they're fairly useful as ammo against their brethren. And yeah, we got actually up to the cannonball part. See, these levels get long to the point where I forget how far I get in a level. And this is one of the longer levels in Krem Quay. It's obviously the longest rigging level. Destroy them all. Great. Time to vent some frustration. Hey, a free barrel, which you can use to kill a flitter. They give you multiple cannonballs for this one, which is nice because once you throw them, they fall off the edge and die, but it's not too hard. And we had one to spare. But that's the thing, you only really had one to spare, and you can't throw your other monkey at a bee, because they'll die. Now, if we go down here with the power of invincibility, there's our DK coin. That's not too bad. And this also brings us around so that we might fire ourselves onto the target and give ourselves some money. Bananas aren't money. Whoa, something weird going on with my audio there. So we got Swanky hanging over on here on the edge of the friggin' mast or whatever, and I'm not going to be doing any more Swanky things. I looked up all his questions to see if there were any funny ones or any cool ones, and the crappy pun does appear again, but it's not really worth it. But anyway, here we have something special. Bramble Blast. All the worlds up to now have had 5 levels. This world has 6. And this 6th level is kind of a doozy, and it introduces us to a new archetype. It's a famous one. It's the Brambles. The Brambles! This is one of the most famous archetypes in Donkey Kong Country 2 of level types. It's basically up in the trees in a really brambly area, but the most memorable part of these levels is not just their difficulty, although this Bramble level is not too bad. This first of the Bramble levels obviously isn't too bad, although it is fairly difficult for what it is. It's only not too difficult because, well, your path is mostly directed by these barrels, so you don't have a lot of options to immediately throw yourself onto the spikes, the brambles themselves, if you will, unless you're stupid. But what makes these levels so particularly famous, or at least memorable, is the music that's playing right now, which I don't really want to talk over. Oh, I missed the K. I think I may have also missed a bonus barrel. You see, this is Sticker Brush Symphony, and while it's not my favorite track in the game, it is probably the most popular. It is probably the fan favorite, though I'm not sure. I'm not too in touch with the Donkey Kong Country 2 community. All I know is that this is a very beloved track, and for what it is, it's actually very technically impressive. I don't remember the specifications that make it technically impressive, but it basically pushed the hardware. It pushed the Super Nintendo to its limits, and it's a very nice, very peaceful song, and it actually works very well in complementing the difficulties of these levels. And what I'm doing here is blasting around. As I blast around, I'm looking for the bonus barrels because it is kind of hard to find them. But you gotta use and look for your cues, like that one. Except that was where we're supposed to go, and I don't want to go where we're supposed to go until I get a feel for where the bonus barrels are. This music puts you in a peaceful mood. It's really good, and interestingly, this is what I wanted to talk about earlier in regards to water levels, how they didn't end up having water levels in this game, only levels that had water portions, like the ship hold. What they originally wanted to use this track for was like an aquatic ambience track, and it would have fit there perfectly, but they had this track left over, and well, you don't want to let something like this go to waste anyway. It sounds really nice, and well, it fits this level because it's a juxtaposition. I'm gonna be snooty and use my big words. Because it isn't that kind of level. This is not these are not peaceful levels. You are surrounded by brambles. Everything will kill you. Your space where you can stand is limited and not nice. I think we have a bonus over here finally, where we have the music interrupted, sadly, but it's okay. Because we actually got to listen to a fair portion. I think we got to listen to a full loop before we cut away to the bonus barrel. So that's appreciated at least. Although I may have missed a bonus barrel, I may have to go back for it. I guess we're gonna see. They actually hide secrets fairly well in the Bramble levels. Oh geez. I'm never good at these barrel sections. I'm just thinking here. I think you have to go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, you gotta go all the way to the bottom, and then from there you gotta work your way up. And from there, you just gotta get a feel. Your goal is to get to the upper right in this, and I think I'm almost there. Or at least... Yes! Yes! Not the upper right, but the far right. And that takes care of that. We did it. We made it through there. And we got ourselves a bonus coin. And fire ourselves back into the peaceful Bramble Blast. It's called Bramble Blast, but it's peaceful at the same time. And now the level is going to start, what it was doing earlier is it's going to stop being so forgiving with the barrels. Before they were just kind of like on their fixed tracks. You could fire in one of 4 directions, but now you can fire in one of 8, now that you've got a feel for the barrel controls. So it's a lot easier to, well, kill yourself if you're not careful. A lot easier. I think the purpose of that barrel up there is to show you that there's something above that zinger, and that you might want to get up there if you can, or at least that's where your goal is, I suppose. They hide the secrets fairly well in these Bramble levels too, so always be on the lookout. This one in particular I think is tricky because, well, you kind of have to trust where the barrels fire, and they keep things on paths that you don't know how to get to necessarily, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it makes the level challenging. Clamp on, bye-bye. Now, you're supposed to fall down here, and then loop your way up around, but I always got into the habit of jumping down with Dixie Kong. Whenever I come to an area where I gotta do a jump or a drop, I instinctively use Dixie Kong's, not flutter ability, that's Yoshi. I instinctively use her hover ability to soften my descent so I don't die. Because nobody likes to die. Unless you're playing a game where the goal is to die. This is not one of those games. Bramble levels will steal your lives. Not this one so much. Because as you can see, and as I've said, the most of the level is on tracks, and you don't have a lot of times where you can throw yourself into the brambles, but the next one in particular, and there's our DK coin up there, well, I'm not going to say too much about the next Bramble level, aside from when we get to it, oh boy, will we get to it. I am not lost, but these barrel mazes aren't, they kind of slow the pace down, but I think that's kind of indicative of this level type, is that you want to do these levels at a fairly slow pace. They're not really good to do with a lot of gusto and boom, boom, boom. I think if we go up here, this is how we get our DK coin. Maybe. Maybe. No. That was a waste of time. Well, okay, in that case, we want to get to the bottom right. Interestingly, Krem Quay is the only world in the game that has 6 levels instead of 5, and I think that works in its favor, because when you get to the 5th level, you might be expecting a boss, as you do get in the other levels, and I just made my way completely back, but it's okay, I'll just continue making my point. I think it works because when you get to this level, you're expecting a boss, but instead you get an entirely new level type that has this music and this entirely different way of playing, I guess. It's definitely not anything like the other levels. The Bramble levels kind of are the standout levels of this game. They're not fast platforming, they go up, they go down, they go in all directions. There's no obvious way where to go aside from not in the Brambles, and that was a bad idea. I wanted to go down here because that'll fire us onto Squawks. Although I think we may have missed stuff over there, and it may have been, or maybe I did find the right way to go, or I don't know. I don't remember much about the Bramble levels, to be honest, but here's the interesting thing that I don't think most people know. When you are playing as Squawks, you can actually hover on the bottom of the thorns. That's the only side you can touch them from, though, so don't fly up into the thorns or into the sides of the thorns. There are a lot of Squawks sections in these levels, though, so it's best to be careful, as always. There are also some sections where you can kind of just pass through the walls, which I'm not so fond of because that requires guessing where you need to pass through, so that's not always too hard. Okay, yeah, this entire section over here is completely secret. You have to jump down there like I did. And you can sacrifice a Kong if you have one, because, well, you get another Kong anyway up here, so that's good. But yeah, the biggest relief is that you don't have to worry about touching the bottom, because the Kongs are apparently immune to thorns while they are riding parrots. And we have to sacrifice our animal buddy. But it's okay, though. We turned him into bananas, so he will live forever on in our stomachs. Og. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, if we went and followed the flitters, they would have just brought us over here to the end goal. But as it stands, we have finished that level. And I think that was everything in that level. Yep, we got all the DK coins. We got 2 of them. Well, the 2 Krem coins anyway, and the DK coin. So that level's done, and Krem Quay is done, aside from the boss. Even though you did a Bramble level, there's still a boss you gotta do, and he is a fairly tough guy. So, without further ado, I say as I get my bearings, we are going on to Kudgels contest. It's Clubba! Not really. It is a Clubba recolor. Although when I first played this game, I thought that Kudgel... By the way, this is Kudgel. He will swing his club at you, and the basic battle strategy of this fight is when he hits the ground, he will cause a tremor that will freeze you in place. If you are standing too close to him when he does this, he will whack you with his club, and that will hurt you. You can't hit him while he's falling. You have to hit him after he hits the ground. If you're too close to him while you're holding a TNT barrel, he will smack it out of your hands with his club. He will knock it away, so it will be lost. We already lost Diddy, so we're probably going to die here. But anyway, yeah, this is Kudgel. See, he completely knocks it away if he's too close to you when he falls. We're probably going to die, but Dixie Kong is definitely the better Kong to have for this fight because she has more hang time in the air, so you don't need to worry so much about the tremors. I think if you plant... Oh, jeez. But yeah, as you can see, Kudgel is, in fact, a Clubba recolor. Although when I was younger and kind of stupid and wasn't reading stuff, I thought this was actually Clubba, who was just attacking you outright for some reason. And when I was little, Krem Quay, I was stuck on Krem Quay for the longest time. So by the time I got to Kudgel, I was already tired and exhausted, and it's like... Krem Quay was the wall for me when I first played this game because of how hard it was, and there would be further walls to come, but Krem Quay was the first one. And ending that off with Kudgel. There we go. And that's how you hit him with TNT. It was pretty intimidating, and I thought it was Clubba, who up to that point had just been knocking me out of his kiosks with the littlest of effort. So this guy was pretty scary. This guy's pretty tough. He has a club filled with nails in it. In a kid's game. That hurts. It's not just a club, it's a club with spikes and stuff in it. I just said that, but just for emphasis. Also, as you can see, the main difference is the more you hit him, the faster he jumps down, the faster the battle goes, and once you hit him 3 times, he'll change up his battle strategy, where he'll just do this instead. He will stay on the ground, he will hop around, kind of like King K. Rool's third phase in Donkey Kong Country 1, though not necessarily entirely like that. I think I might actually do this. This boss fight is substantially easier when you're playing as Dixie Kong. Might I do this on the first try? I hope so. Because the problem with this boss fight is that it is really long if you don't get it right. Like, if you get to this end and you die, you gotta do the whole thing again. Oh boy. But he hops really fast, so he can get you off guard if you're not careful. And that is our 6th TNT barrel. And if we aim this just right, he goes out with a splash. And that, my friends, is the end of Krem Quay, the end of Kudgel and the end of Krem Quay, the swampy lands that blocked our path up to the rest of Crocodile Isle. So, that was Bramble Blast, that was Slime Climb, but from there, the challenges are only going to increase. You can see the name of the next world right ahead, Crazy Kremland. But if you want to see Crazy Kremland and just what the middle level of Crocodile Isle is like, then I'm just gonna have to hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye.